The question here that I was trying to address in the context of my commentary on Shinran's hymn on the Nembutsu and True Shinjin that I published January 30th, 2016. The question is is a feeling of true and trusting or faith a legitimate modality for spirituality? Now, that for many of you will be a no-brainer, and the answer is yes. But some people may call into question the sort of the validity of an easy path, the kind of path that's articulated within the Pure Land tradition in general, and in Jodo Shinshu or Shin Buddhism in particular. So what I tried to do here was to articulate a few words to help give a rationale in that regard, and it may or may not be of use or of interest to you, but I thought I would just go ahead and share that here, where what I said was, one of the things I am trying to do here is to thread a needle, to give an explanation that affirms the person of simple faith. And that's what I'm trying to do, really, is to affirm the person who thinks in concrete terms about Amida Buddha and the Pure Land, and has a simple faith that by saying the name Namu Amida Butsu, that they are assured of rebirth in the Pure Land, and that there's nothing more is needed. I mean, basically, that's what Honen taught to Shinran, and what Shinran said that he believed. I have a shirt tacked up to the wall there with a quote by Shinran. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and show it in this video, where he's quoted to say, "Simply rely on the teachings of the masters." And of course, for Shinran, that meant the seven patriarchs within Shin Buddhism, but Honen in particular was his immediate teacher, and who articulated and propagated this simple, easy path. So one of the things I'm trying to do here is to thread a needle, to give an explanation that affirms the person of simple faith, while at the same time helping the person who has trouble experiencing true and trusting of Amida to recognize that it is not intellectually dishonest to do so. To the contrary, to not recognize that true and trusting is a legitimate form of spirituality is to deprive the vast number of humanity from the comfort that such a worldview can provide, given that the path of the bodhisattva is not realistic for most. So, in the West, particularly, we have this tendency to say, "Oh, poo-poo, that's not, that's fantasy, or that's wish fulfillment. That's not real, just devotional kind of path." But I would challenge that perspective and make the point that any kind of worldview that's articulated in verbal or conceptual terms is by definition limited. I mean, you've heard me say that over and over in different ones of my videos. And the point is well taken, in my own opinion, which of course I'm biased about, in that, true reality goes beyond words and concepts. And so, who's to say, and certainly us as a limited kind of species in terms of our appreciation and understanding of the nature of who we are in this universe we live in, how are we so arrogant as to say that this is not a legitimate path? So I'm saying to not recognize that true and trusting is a legitimate form of spirituality is to deprive the vast number of humanity from the comfort that such a worldview can provide, given that the path of the bodhisattva is not realistic for most. And of course, Shinran felt that in his time it was virtually impossible for anybody to attain Buddhahood on the basis of their own self-effort. The availability of this easy path is the expression of compassion that a cosmic eternal Buddha would want to make available to us all. And when one experiences an inner turning toward entrustment, it becomes apparent that there is indeed truth in that path. Namu Amida Butsu. So part of it boils down to, what is the nature of truth? Do we define truth only in terms of objective, scientific, materialistic kind of dimensions? Or do we recognize that there are truths or realities that, again, go beyond the scope of what we can measure and what we can fathom by our various sense organs? I was happy to hear a response to this comment by an individual who said, "Peace. I must tell you that you have committed a great service to we of the Western climes and minds." And here, as we say in the South, I guess by reading this, I'm bragging on myself a little bit, and I do so with humility because I know that not everybody appreciates my latest iteration of a recitation style. But this fellow says, "Your reading has pace with rhythm, clearly a sign of deep affection with the Lotus Sutra." And this is back in 2016 when, when I was much more oriented toward reading the Lotus Sutra. Anyway, those are some thoughts that, again, may or may not have relevance, and I give them to you for what they're worth, and I close with Namu Amida Butsu.
Namandam, Tsunamandam, Namandam, Tsunamandam, Namandam.